Well, good morning or good afternoon, students, whatever time it is for you today. I'm going to do a little demonstration about why it is so difficult for cartographers, that is, map makers, to actually draw large-scale maps of the world. Now, you may not think this is all that difficult, but it really is truly an art and a science. And so we're going to try a little demonstration. Like most things in this class, we're going to have to improvise. So I'm going to be using my handy dandy globe and a couple of pre-cut orange halves. Okay, so let's get right to it. And I'm going to have to first, well, let's talk about the globe first. So you just saw in the video the discussion about the globe being a sphere shaped and the difficulty of taking the image of the surface of the earth and spreading it out onto a flat map. And that's what we're going to use the oranges for this morning, to see how that really works and what they have to do in order to make a large map. So I think I first have to adjust my camera so that I'm down on the oranges. So we'll put our oranges together, and we've got somewhat representative of a sphere that we'll call our Earth. In this case, we've got North America right here. So it's very realistic, as you can see. And so we're going to take these two orange halves, and we're going to pretend that these are the surface of the earth, these orange skins. And so we're going to try to make them into a flat map. So if I put them down on my board like this, they don't exactly lie flat, do they? And I can push down on this one, and it doesn't go down very easily, but even if it did, you could see that it just wouldn't flatten out. So let's take the other one here, and let's try this. Let's see if we can maybe cut it into smaller pieces and then make it lie down. That should make it a little bit easier, shouldn't it? So let's take this, and again, we'll push it down. And yeah, it does get a little flatter, but you can see that it's still not completely flat. It's got a big hump right here. We just haven't quite gotten it all the way down. Let's try cutting it again. See if we can make it any better. By the way, don't try this at home. I always have to caution people using knives. You can hurt yourself, so we don't want to do that. So I can put these two halves down, and now they're getting fairly flat. But what you notice is that instead of the tops of them up here joining, they're split apart. And you could almost think of this quadrant right here as being, say, two sets of lines of longitude. So one line of longitude coming down this side and the other line of longitude coming down this side. Longitude lines, as we've just seen, meet at the poles and then to a nice point. And that's exactly what happens here. But we still have the problem that when we put it together, my North Pole of this piece and my North Pole of that piece aren't together. They're spread out. And mathematically, if you were to try to work it out, what you would see is that the North Pole would be, which is a point, would become an infinite line. That's what the real problem is with a cartographer trying to create a flat map from the surface of the globe. So what the cartographers do is, to get out of that problem, they just cut off the map a little below the north and south poles. So at about 80 degrees north latitude and 80 degrees south latitude, sometimes a little bit further than that, they just cut that part of the map off. And that's why when you look at wall maps, typically you don't see the north and south poles. But what you do see is that everything is stretched out up at the north end. Okay, that's how we make a map. And my reward for doing this is that I get to eat the inside of the orange.